Yeah, straight to the business of the day, sales closing, simple sales closing formula for real estate. This is specifically for your industry. I'm not an all-rounder. In the last 5 years, my focus has been on the real estate industry, and I have effectively projected my activities around that, both trainings and involvement in the sales process. So yeah, what I'm sharing with you tonight is going to be strictly on experience-based information, not textbooks information. So please pay attention as much as you would want to. All right. So first and foremost in sales. So start up with me. Please have a writing material. I'm not going to be wrapping this. I'm just going to take you a step at a time. In sales closing, you see, one of the mistakes we have actually made that I have identified even in my early days is that we carry out sales and marketing the same way. So in all my years, I have tried to inform everyone in my session that, look, marketing and sales are two different things. And then if you are not able to effectively segment and separate the two of them, you are going to consistently struggle. Because you see, in real estate, people do not come to buy land. All right, that's the first stage you need to understand in your journey of sales closing. In sales, every stage of the journey must be strategically followed through. So it's not something that you said, okay, I just captured a lead, let me quickly call him to ask when is he paying. All right, so sales is not permitted for desperation, but marketing is. All right, so in sales closing, you have to understand that there are strategic approach, there are strategic stages that you must follow through in order to effectively close them. This is why most times you have captured over 100 leads, and at the end of the day, only two persons are eventually sold to, not because the remaining 98 people did not have interest, but just simply because you could not take them through on a journey based on their expectation. Because you see, every lead that you capture today has a specific expectation. But one of the problems salespeople have is that they want to sell to the people whom they are actually approaching as though they are selling to themselves. You are different. You are Michael. You are winners. The person you are selling to does not have the same attribute as you. All right, so the first stage of understanding is that you are not selling this to yourself, and as such, you cannot approach it as though you are talking to yourself. You have to fully understand who they are in order to structure your approach strategically. So, firstly, we have the Nigerian real estate being more competitive today than what it used to be even 3 years ago. Anybody could just post, and then at the end of the day, someone will show up and buy. Because you see, the industry you are in today has been sabotaged. You are genuine, you are doing something right, but there are larger number of companies who have ruined the reputation of the industry. So it does not directly mean that the industry is ruined. What it means that the trust level has increasingly diminished. All right, so a lot of people want to know, how well are you trustable? All right, how can I trust you, and all of those. But I have a lot to share here. I'm going to be skimming on a few of them. Don't worry, when I get to where it's more important, I will let you stick to the screen. All right, so yeah, we've gone past this stage already. So okay, so yeah, two things, not two, one, two, three, four, five, six things I need you to pay attention to today is that we have areas we are focusing on that will be important in today's learning. It's not a generalized session. All right, so in today's learning journey, you are going to understand what closing truly is, and then you are going to understand buyer psychology. You are also going to understand how to build trust, because the entirety of your sales journey depends on your ability to build trust effectively. In this part of the world, someone will ask you, how can I trust you? And your first point is defense. All right, so this has been one of the problems with salespeople. We are always often very defensive. All right, so being defensive actually doesn't answer the question of trust. All right, how can I trust you? Even when you go to the general market in Nigeria, you'll see that if you go to Aba and you want to buy a leather belt and you ask them, are you sure this would last? Before you are done saying, are you sure this would last, they've twisted it like 3-4 times and then stretch it for you to see that the leather is truly genuine. Even some people that sell plastic will hit it on the floor for you to see the durability of that plastic that you are buying. Now, this simply communicates an effective measure in demonstrative trust building approach. You see, people do not believe when you tell them, trust me, we are a company that have existed for over 5 years or over 20 years. People don't bother about how long you've existed. Their concern is, how is my interest covered? All right, they do not care about your vision, your mission, and how long you've existed in the industry. They are what you've won. Now, this is it. What are your approach in protecting your client when they buy properties from you to avoid losing them? Because there are clearly different ways property can be lost. So how are you communicating that? Because when they say, how can I trust you? It simply means, when I buy today, how am I sure I'm going to get allocated? Because I've heard somewhere that people are selling receipts. Now, that's what they are encompassing in the message, can I trust you? How am I sure this property is genuine? What are the documents that it comes with? That's what the question is. How am I sure it's in a buildable environment? They are trying to be sure of the location. How am I sure it's appreciable? So now you have to assume all the questions that are embedded under, can I trust you? So in your self-communication journey, while trying to close, your defense on the word can I trust you is not, we are a very big company that have existed, we have different estate in over the, that's not what it means. But so you are going to understand how to effectively build trust. You are going to understand how to handle objection, especially, let me speak with my spouse or any third party. All right. And then you are going to understand the major ingredient in sales closing, which is follow up, and then the role play. All right. So take note of these 6 different elements in sales closing, because those are the key things I'm going to dwell on today and make sure that you effectively understand them and be able to apply them in your sales journey. All right, are we still together?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, so
Where we go?
to start with, what is closing? For some of us, we probably have maybe gone to Google, gone to YouTube, tried to look up closing. How do I close? What is really real estate closing? See, closing generally is helping qualified buyers make confident decisions. Closing is not when are you paying, sir? Closing is not when are you coming for inspection, sir? Closing is not when can I call you back, sir? So closing is your ability to help a qualified buyer. Take note of the attribute there, qualified buyer, because you have no business talking to a random person. If you are talking to a random person who has not been qualified, if you like, be Seth Godin, you will never be able to close him. The reason is that a random buyer is not one who has the capacity to purchase. You see, interest means nothing without a buying capacity. Interest means nothing without a buying capacity. So you see, your closing begins from qualifying the lead you are capturing. All right. So because your ability to help qualified buyers make confident decisions is what guarantees your closing. All right. So that's in general context. But coming back in the real estate context, it simply means your ability to take on the lead you've captured on a journey to conversation. All right, you see, the moment the lead enters, the first approach, in fact, the first instinct of an average salesperson is, hello, sir, we received your interest in our property. We wanted to find out when you will be available for inspection. You know, that's the first instinct of an average salesperson, not an experienced salesperson. When would you be available for inspection? I don't know you. Which company is this? Who are you? I have actually indicated interest in more than one offer. Which company is this? Now, the moment you hear those questions, you've already missed out. You may likely struggle to close that particular client. Please take note. In the process, I'm going to be injecting practical approaches. So if you want to pause me and ask a question, please do. So what should happen instead? Instead of you just capture the lead and then your automated message on WhatsApp goes to thank you for your interest in our property. This is Hill's group of companies. We have our properties in Enugu, we have our properties in Asaba, we have our properties in Imo, we have our properties in Anambra. Please tell us, where would you like to buy property? Now, what you've done there is that you've created what we call options. And you see, the moment there are options, decisions become difficult in sales closing. So what are the approaches you do in this kind of context? You see, it's as it is highlighted here, from lead to conversation. So the conversation there means that you are not presenting a message to him. You are establishing a rapport. Am I communicating at all? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hello, we can hear you,
All right.
sir.
So the first thing you need to know is that the moment you have captured a lead, the first thing you are establishing is a rapport. So how do you establish a rapport? It's your ability to initiate an effective rapport that would proceed to a meaningful conversation. You know, there is something called trigger that helps you to initiate rapport. Of course, this is not an instantaneous, because you have time to think about the rapport you are going to use based on the submitted data. This is why they are saying that you are trying to help qualified buyers to make confident decisions. Reason is that while they are completing the form, you are already having a data request that would pre-qualify them before you begin your conversation with them. So you look through the captured data and they have provided information based on the request. For example, you requested for a name, you requested for a phone number, you requested for their kind of investment choice. Is it going to be commercial or private? All right. So because people do not buy land, allow me to inject this. People do not buy land. People invest based on a specific goal. I actually have this as a slide, but I just needed to inject this as I remember. You see, if you continue selling land, you will struggle. Because, for example, Nigerians in diaspora's interest is not to buy land. Primarily, an average Nigerian in diaspora invests back home as a backup plan. Should anything go wrong in where they are, they know that they have a backup plan back home that can give them a leverage to start up all over again, even if they lose everything abroad. For example, they may mistakenly impregnate someone, and then child support can eat them up, and they decide to run away from that particular location because of child support. And secondly, it may be immigration issue, which is going on everywhere in the world right now. It may even be a spouse trying to set them up, and then they run back home to Nigeria. So these are when they are making buying decisions, they are strategically thinking of safety, security. They are trying to protect their interest for a fallback plan, and then most of them rely on your guidance to be able to make confident decision. Now, you as an investment advisor is to let them understand what aspect of real estate investment they should focus on, and that happens when you have been able to establish a conversation. Now, I have completed a form. My name is Timothy. My name is Timothy Aneti, excuse me. And then I'm based in US. And then my budget for investment back home between now and in the next 3 months is about 28 million naira, for example. And then I don't have a problem with that investment. I just need to trust you, because there's an aspect that says if you're able to make a buying decision, I am able to make a buying decision if I find a company that suits my investment goal. So now, if I am starting a conversation, what should be the initial conversation that happens even when you are automating on WhatsApp? Hello, Mr. Timothy. Thank you for your interest in our property. Based on your submission, we could see that you are a US-based Nigerian who is trying to invest, because when you are targeting, you have specifically targeted a particular country. They need to know that you know what you are doing. You cannot be talking to someone in the US the same way you are talking to someone who listened to your radio in Enugu and called or chatted. It's not, the approach cannot be the same. All right. So it starts from lead to conversation to trust building to inspection, booking, to decision making and payments. Now, these are things that encompass what forms closing, sales closing. All right. These are the things that form sales closing. You cannot generate a lead today and then jump from lead to payment. You are going to always have a decline in your closing approach. If you pick from here to payment, hello sir, okay, so I wanted to know when would you be able to make payment? Okay, you pick from lead to inspection. So sir, when would you be available for inspection? Nobody has time. I've cited this the last time I was in Enugu. I cited this that no, you should not in any way ask when would you be available for inspection. You should give your schedule and ask them to pick the suitable date and time for their own inspection. All right, so in our calendar, we have Monday, we have Wednesday, and we have Saturday for our inspection. And then these are the timing. I would like you to quickly pick the date and time that suits your availability for inspections. And now you have given them a specific schedule, not allowing them. They will tell you, I will get back to you, let me check my calendar. You have already given them your own schedule. Let them be able to pick from there. So now what I'm doing here is for you to understand what forms closing. We've not even started this session deeply yet. So just for you to understand that these are the things that will help you close. Your first thing is generating a lead that is qualified as a buyer, and then establishing the right conversation, going ahead with the trust level, and then going straight to the inspection, and then decision and payment. And most of the people lost it at the inspection level, because at that point they refused to stay as salesman or a salesperson. They become a tour guide. I'm going to speak on this later on. I'm just trying to pick you on to understand this. There is a way you can become a tour guide in the inspection rather than being an effective salesperson who hold on to the sales approach even while at the inspection level. And then you wonder, 12 people came for inspection, not a single person bought. Because while they were at the inspection, you were just serving as a tour guide. You were not activating your salesmanship skills around them. All right, so take note of these six important elements that are the things that help in closing. Remember, closing is helping qualified buyers make confident decision, and then the elements, the process is from lead, conversation, trust, inspection, decision, before payment. So you don't jump any of the stages. It's more like a funnel structured stage. All right, but we're going to talk more on those ones. So sales begin with knowledge. You see, in closing, you cannot even effectively close anybody you do not have a knowledge of. All right, so first and foremost, Nigerians have reasons. So I told you that everything I had here initially will come back to the slide. So this is why I'm not dwelling one after the other on them. So they will come back on them. So the first thing I told you was why Nigerians buy property. Because you see, you cannot afford to be focusing on selling lands. All right. So the first stage is that you have to understand before you even begin your closing approach. You have to know, who is this person that I'm trying to sell to? What drives them? Why do they want to buy properties? So by the time you've answered these few questions, what property are they looking at buying? All right. So for example, you already know that we have four important buyers categories, which are the Nigerians in diaspora, the creative industry income earners, the wealth preservers, and the investors. You know, the people we categorize as investors, the flippers, people who buy, wait for a particular period of time, sell off. Today you can call it land banking, the land bankers. All right, they buy to sell. All right, and then repeat the process. So those are the four categories of buyers. So, but first, you need to sit back and activate customer avatar. All right, deep knowledge of each of the category. This is why you cannot afford to sell to all of them. If you are talking to all of them at the same time, you will not know how to approach your closing. All right, you cannot close all of them with the same approach. So one after the other, if you are actually targeting Nigerians in diaspora and you have identified that, okay, what they are doing is that this is the category for diaspora investment. Now you look out as a Nigerian in diaspora, their first interest is not, I want to buy land. Their first interest is, I have actually been studying Nigerian real estate industry, and I saw a lot of prospects compared to real estate investment in my location. So I would like to know, what do you think is the best aspect that I should focus my investment on? Nigerians in diaspora are not looking for people who are selling land. They are not looking for people who are selling houses. They are looking for genuine real estate investment professionals. As a matter of fact, I can call them investment advisors because they want to leverage. If they must have been even observing your approaches, so they will now come, they want to leverage on your knowledge to be able to make that investment. So while trying to close them, they have filled your form, and then the moment they've completed your form, they've become a qualified lead based on the fields you allow them to fill. And then your approach next is not, okay, sir, so when would you like, do you have anybody in Nigeria that can come for inspection on your behalf? The moment you ask that question, you have created a barrier for yours. As a matter of fact, you have by yourself activated an objection that never existed. All right, because we have a lot of sales objection, but if you allow yourself to activate an objection that never existed by asking questions that shouldn't be asked, you will struggle to close. So the first approach, if you are targeting a Nigerian in diaspora who has come through to your form after your ad or after your content on YouTube, irrespective of the platform, and the moment they've come in, the first thing you do is that you have to activate them. So activating them is part of the sales closing journey. This is how you activate a Nigerian in diaspora. Hello, Mr. Timothy. Good to have you here. My name is Alex, and I'm calling from Hills Group of Company. So a few minutes ago, we received your form submission for investment in our properties. So first and foremost, we truly understand your investment goal. But before I make any recommendation, I would like us to talk, because you see, for someone like you who is making an investment back home from diaspora, we need to guide you rightly to an investment that will be more rewarding to you. Now, the first stage you have done there is that you have clearly projected to him that, look, this is not about me. I am not selfish. I am here to help you. I am all out to make sure that your investment is rewarding, it is secured, it is actually something that you would be happy you did. So at that point, you have created a relaxed atmosphere in the activation process. And then you asked him a question that initiates a conversation. So let me ask, sir, you indicated that you are actually investing in commercial real estate. Have you decided on a specific aspect of the commercial real estate investment? And then you wait for a feedback from him. If he tells you that, yes, I have actually been thinking around short-let apartments, I've been thinking around hotel. Now the next approach is, this is actually, oh yeah, that's a good one, sir. This is actually these are the two most rewarding investment in commercial real estate in Nigeria. You know, normally I wouldn't advise you to build to let. Now, the reason why I wouldn't advise you to invest on build to let is that in Nigeria, you would spend a whole lot building that, and then the rental structure in Nigeria is not as much as it is in the Western world, where rent are done monthly and you can easily recoup your investment. Now, compared to short-let apartment that on a daily basis you are actually accruing income, and in a short period of time you can recover your investment. Now, this is how it works. It's not enough to have decision. Now you are becoming an educator and an advisor to him right now. You see, now that you have interest in either short-let or hotel, I'm going to give you the advantages and disadvantages of both. But before we go on, I need to assure you that these are topmost investment in real estate. And trust me, if you work with us, the right investment advisor, you are assured investment in a location that will guarantee your return on investment in a shortest period of time. First, you cannot do a short-let apartment investment in a location that has no basic amenities. So at this point, you have not asked for anything. In sales closing, it is called reciprocity. Now the man is now feeling indebted to you. Are you with me? So the man is now feeling indebted to you. You have spent the last 1 minute being selfless to him. You are so focused on how to help him do better in his decision. So you see, if you ask me between hotel and short-let, I will ask you to go for short-let, or I will ask you to go for hotel. Now, this is your fault. It's why you cannot successfully sell real estate without the right knowledge. Go and study. When you are making recommendation, which will be more rewarding? This is an assignment for you. You cannot just make recommendation. No, now even if you are not ready to buy to build now, you can buy what's the name? Oji River. If your budget cannot afford Independence Layout, you can buy Oji River. That's not how it works. Before you make any property recommendation, you must know their budget. You must know the kind of property they want. You cannot afford to make two recommendations at the same time. You will create doubt. So because the moment you said, hotel is fine, short-let is also fine, you have created double option. Instead, so look, you have two genuine options, but I will tell you, as someone who has been in the industry for a long period of time and have helped most Nigerians in diaspora to invest in Nigeria and have rewarded, and they have reaped good reward in their investment, I will tell you to go for. Be very specific as an investment advisor, not someone who is tossing around on indecision, like one who is not so sure of what works and what doesn't work. You have to be really, really rooted in the industry, that your decisions are very effective. All right. So the next thing you need to understand is that Nigerians' home want to become homeowners in their hometown or in any city as a bragging right. All right, they are investing in property for wealth preservation. They are also trying to build legacy. That is, they have children, they want to leave inheritance for them. All right, at the same time they are making investment that can sustain their old age, and then they are investing this for security. They don't know the way the country is going, the economic inflation, so they want to tie down resources in a place that they understand that cash flow is assured, capital protection is assured, easily liquidated asset is assured. So they are putting that on security, and then most time they want to put it on rental income so that they can have something they make yearly income, and then they can even be investing based on the fear of missing out. Everybody is talking about real estate investment. Every billionaire they interview keeps saying, I invested in real estate. I don't want to be the only one who did not invest in real estate. So you have to first understand, why does this person want to buy property? All right, because people don't buy land, they buy what the land will become. All right, so the moment you have the right knowledge on why they are buying this property, you are able to tailor your conversation rightly, from home ownership to all other ones, so that you do not run from someone who is trying to build, to preserve wealth, and then go to someone who is trying to who is working on investing for security against inflation. These are two different categories of buyers. The way you talk to the one that is trying to preserve wealth has to be different. This is why we have buyer segmentation. So in your closing, don't put everyone on the same space. Don't talk to everyone in the same way, because they are different. All right, so the psychology of buyers, you see, the investors would say in his mind, I want appreciation. So the investors want appreciation. The analytical buyer is concerned about what document does it come with. He's not even bothered about appreciation. And then the investors knows that this particular property must be in a location, you must recommend the property in a location that has certain percentage increase. But the analytical buyer is not bothered about how many percentage it increases on a monthly basis. The diaspora buyer is not bothered about what appreciation you are talking about. Your concern is, can I even trust you? Who in the diaspora has trusted you before? And then the skeptical buyer is saying, is this another fraud? Now, you cannot handle your sales closing effectively if you truly do not understand what category they fall under. All right, so you have to effectively activate, establish conversation with them in order to fully understand which category they fall under. Is it an investor? Now you know that you have to amplify the location appreciation. Is it an analytical? Sometimes we call them logical buyer. Analytical buyer, you need to, at that point, you need to know that these people are more concerned about what protects the property rather than how fast the property grows. And then the Nigerians in the diaspora, they have peculiar concerns. So you have to understand all of this before you initiate a chat, before you initiate a call. All right, and then the emotional buyers, whom we call the skeptical buyers, they are the people who will tell you, you people should allow me, I beg. All real estate people are fraud. The one my sister bought in Asaba for over 15 years ago from, they mentioned a company's name, they have not allocated. People keep selling receipt, no allocation. Now, those are emotional buyers. What do you do in that? Once you hear something like that, it is called an objection, sales objection. In that case, you don't become defensive. You first of all share in their concern. Yes, I totally understand your fear side. The truth is that you're actually not the only one. As a matter of fact, even as a company, we have taken up as a personal task on behalf of our clients to make sure that we burnt our fingers ahead of time so that when you come in, you ride on our experience. You see, properties in Asaba, you don't just buy because the location is good. You don't just buy because the company is big. You buy because you have verified this, you have verified that, and then they have assured you that this is in place. Now, this the way I said this, that, and those. So now, as a real estate person, you have to put down what are those things that they must be assured of. One, the kind of document the property comes with. Two, the timing of allocation the company gives. Three, the process of property protection. So now you go ahead and say, no, when we sell property to you, we usually advise our buyers. These are the things, these are the steps you take when your property has been allocated. So an allocation takes between this and that. As a matter of fact, last week we had allocation. I've sent you a message on WhatsApp right now with the allocation we had last week. You are talking to him on phone, and already you are also, let me just put this in. Yesterday, I watched the Gems, the School of the Hard Knock guy. He was trying to interview a billionaire, and then the man was not giving him attention, and he knew that at that point he needed a social proof. All right, the man was just seeing him as one random guy with mobile phone and camera, disturbing people on the street, and then he quickly said, "Look, I have 23 million followers on my social media, and I interview billionaires. Look at this last person I interviewed." And then he showed a billionaire to the person on a different phone that the man knows the person. Immediately he stood. He stopped walking. He stood and gave him attention. Now what happened there was that he stopped trying to project himself. He brought in a social proof immediately to cancel every barrier that the man was bringing up. So the moment the man realized that, a fellow billionaire has given him attention, of course he deserves. So what it means is that instead of trying to defend that, no, we have a very big company that have existed for over 10 years. As a matter of fact, we have properties in different locations in Nigeria. That's not what they are looking for. What is in it for me? How does it protect me? How does it guide and secure my property if I buy from you? Those are the information they need. So when you are making that sales call and then objections come in, please calm down. Don't be in a haste to defend. Be sure that you share in their fears. Be sure that you share in their past experiences, and then bring them into a place of closure. Now, this is what we have done to make sure that you do not experience what you've heard a family member experience, or what you've even experienced before. As a matter of fact, the reason why you experienced that was because you did not put this into consideration, did not put that into consideration. And these are the things you should do even if you are buying from us. Make sure that these have been handled before you make payments. Now, what you have done there is that they would think, if you can give me all this information on how to avoid this, it means that he or she is so certain enough that what they are offering is very genuine, because a scammer wouldn't want to give me a loopholes towards where I can use to protect myself. So those are how buyer's psychology works. All right, you have to understand each of the categories before you start initiating call, before you start initiating chats. All right, so now there is a golden rule in all of this. Sell benefits instead of features. Yes, in the industry, 90% of the realtors I've met before, we did a training and then they overhaul. As a matter of fact, I spent a few weeks in Abuja handling sales structuring for a particular company. You see, we were overhauling the entire process because their call script was faulty, their marketing script was faulty, their campaign video, everything, because they were focused on features. All right, so people are not buying features, they are buying benefits. What does it benefit me to buy this location? what does it benefit me to invest in this particular property? So if you sit back and then you see you have a property in Asaba, in a particular location in Asaba, you have a property in a particular location in Enugu or where and other part of the southeast, and then you sit and highlight, okay, so a property in Independence Layout, this particular one, these are 5 benefits. You list them out. And then this one, these are 5 benefits of investing in it. You list them out. Now, these are things that will guide you when you are having communication with your prospect. It's because you don't have to start, okay, sir, don't worry, hold on, let me get back to you. The moment you do not have the right knowledge of what you are selling, the person you are trying to sell to will never trust you. You have to be sure that before you initiate a call, you have the right knowledge of what you are selling. All right, focus on benefits rather than features. What are features and what are benefits in real estate? Benefit is not that the location is close to the main road. That's the feature. All right, the benefit is not that it is a buy and build. That's a feature. All right, and then these are some of the things that we have been communicating in our sales process. Does it sound familiar? It is actually, it's actually not that the property document is genuine. It is not that there are basic amenities in the environment. Those are clearly features of those properties. All right, so the benefit is that as a Nigerian in diaspora, investing in this property at Independence Layout clearly project your investment at a steroid. You see, just like people who invest in money markets, you investing in real estate gives you monthly growth projection of. Now the benefit is that your cash flow projection in percentage level has been able to defeat inflation even in the next 10 years. So this location guarantees this cash flow projection on this property, the percentage growth on this property. At the same time, this property guarantees different investment options. So if you buy this property, you can decide that you are building a short-let apartment. You can decide that you are building a hotel. You can even decide that you are building a private residency in that particular location. So you see, the benefit of this property is that it has a three-phase benefits. All right, you can use it for any of the property investment options, and then it's suitable and you can recoup your investment. As a matter of fact, there is no way you buy this property and try to resell it and you do not make at least 30% reward on investment in a period of 12 months. So those are just you projecting benefits. Sit back and highlight more benefit attached to it rather than the features around the property. All right, okay, so the modern closing formula. So there is a formula in closing. All right, the formula in closing is that trust must come first before value. All right, so you see, people do not see the value if they don't even trust you. And then you have to equally handle urgency. You see, in closing, if I come here now and you make me feel that in the next 12 months the property will still be there, I won't be shaking. I will allow myself to take all the time and then come back by December and ask you, so this property you told me about in January, is it still available? Because you made me believe that the property will still be there anytime I come. So in the formula, in the modern closing formula, you have to be sure that the first thing you activate is a trust level. All right, build your trust level with your prospect and then communicate value. All right, communicate value. There is actually a structure for this formula. Communicate the value and then make it urgent. All right, so the urgency doesn't mean that so we are closing sales tomorrow, sir. The urgency is that I've always said this in some of our training. You see, yesterday we had a meeting with the management and I was intimated that there will be a review. But you see, I love how we have been communicating from the beginning of this sales call. You have been very, very open to the information on what exactly you want. And I truly desire that you are among those who benefit from our current discount offer that has been since the last 4 weeks, and it's ending in the next 2 days as we've been intimated by the management. And I want to put a word on your behalf, sir. I want to call my management and tell them that you have already booked a plot or you have already booked a unit. And then I want to be sure that you do not miss the discount, and you just have to guarantee me that you will be able to make a decision between now and Friday. Is that fine if I go ahead? So, an average Nigerian does not like being held by their word. So, if is not sure, you hear, don't worry. Let me just get back to you. With that, you will know that there is still more work you need to do. But if you said, "Oh yeah, thank you so much. I think I would love that," but before then, can I know about? So now you know that you are talking with someone who is a ready buyer. You know how to segment someone who has to be in the pipeline and someone whom you have to activate your follow-up structure for urgent closing. All right. So the value communication here remains the trust building. How do you build trust? For some of us that have attended my previous training, you know that I have something I called the chain, the trust building chain. All right. So the first level of building trust starts from your activation. The moment you pick up the lead and then you start your activation call that proceeds to conversation. All right. So in the process, while communicating with them, your expertise, the way you communicate your expertise, the way you focus on their interest rather than your own, will help you establish a level of trust around them. So they will now see you as someone who truly values their security, who truly values their investment goal, rather than just asking for payment. All right. So I highlighted that earlier, that when they come in, you find out from them based on the submitted data. All right. Even if they say they want to buy, they build, they are looking for a private investment for a country home. They want to build a country home. So you have to know, oh, that's beautiful. So let me ask, sir, do you have children between the ages of 10 and 20? I'm actually asking this because, before I make a property recommendation, I want to be sure that it suits your kind of personality. And at that particular point, what you are hearing, what you are going to hear, it's simply that, okay, this person values me, this person values my security. All right. So, and then you can always use different trigger to activate them and get them to give you all those information. And then you see, I want you to live in an environment that is very secure. And you see, one of those locations is this. Don't recommend 2 locations at a time. And this is why I'm recommending this location. Don't wait for them to ask you, why did you recommend this one? Make sure that you have highlighted the values on that location you recommended before they ask. All right, but there's actually a problem, sir. Now you are trying to bring in urgency. You see, I know that you've just established a communication with us today. I don't want it to sound so urgent, but yesterday we had a meeting with the management. I'm repeating this for it to sync with you. All right. Yesterday we had a meeting with the management, and you see, this property has been on a discount sale. We were running offer for in the last 4 weeks. As a matter of fact, initially the property was sold for 28 million, but in the discount we were running, the management decided to bring it down to 18 million. But as at yesterday in a meeting, we were told that the price review will happen in the next 2 days, apparently on Wednesday, if your call was on Monday. And I love the fact that you have a layout structure of the investment goal you are looking at right now. So I want to put a word on your behalf. So always make sure that your urgency helps you. You see, when I was in Enugu, we did this. Your boss was, had a few clients he was talking with, they were always delaying. And I told them, look, you have not activated urgency. And he said, this could be true. And then he went ahead, activated urgency right there in my presence. He just told me, do you know that with that strategy I just activated now, some people paid. And that's exactly how it works. People will feel relaxed because you made them feel so. You did not make them feel like this property is going out anytime soon. And make sure that you have presented a low risk. Now, buying from you clearly shows, buying from your company already projected that, look, your risk level has reduced from 100 to 10. Based on the fact that the way they have communicated with you, the way they have told you how to verify, the way they have even taken you on the virtual tour, the way they have even educated you as investment advisor, allowing you to understand the investment decision you are making so that you don't even waste your money on the wrong property investment. Now, these are the things that eventually close sales. But you see, 90% of realtors want to move from lead acquisition to when would you be available for inspection, sir? And then from inspection, and then you call, all right, sir, have you been able to make a decision? So how many plots are you going for? Those are not sales process. Sales has a structure. Sales closing comes with a formula. You have to structure it the right way. You capture the lead, activate the lead, establish conversation. From the conversation, you take them on advisory journey while you eventually lead them to either physical or virtual inspection booking. And after that, while going for the inspection, you are not a tour guide. You are a salesperson. Don't go there acting like a tour guide, just showing them, you see, this is where the land starts. We have already started allocating. There, you have to psychologically speak to them. You see, now imagine if you have a family of 5 and then your house, your duplex is stationed here. Or if he had told you that he's investing for commercial purposes. You see, this particular location from our projection, the last time this property was sold for 2 million naira at the launch price, but today it's sold for about 8 million. The global projection on this property is that in the next 5 years, this property location will be, a plot of land will be sold for 35 million naira. And here is actually the new Enugu that has been projected, or the new Asaba extension. As a matter of fact, you've heard that there is going to be a separation of state, and you know the capital has to be adjusted. And you see, investing here projects you for the future that you've always wanted. You see, just imagine, see that location. You see the main road. Just so you have to keep sending the psychological, the emotional. You have to be in the emotional control, because people feel their way to buying decision. They have to keep seeing reason to buy. And then if you have spoken with them before they come for inspection, and you know that they have kids below the ages of 5 and 10, you know they may want to send the kids to a good school in Nigeria or even abroad. And I say, if I were you, and I have, even if you are not building on this property based on the location you took them to, all right, this property guarantees you a structured investment security. You see, for example, if you have a child that is 5 years today, and you know they may likely would want to study in a place like Canada, US, and UK, and by then, let's say 10-15 years from now, of course, your hustle strength will not be what it is today, sir. I would assure you that if you tie 5 million naira to 2 plots of land in this location, in the next 15 years, those 2 plots will fund your children's education in Canada. Now, just imagine coming back here 15 years after, and then you are selling 1 plot for 35 million, and then the 2 plots you are buying today will now become 70 million. Tell me, would you need to go to your savings to take money in order to send those children abroad? Now, this is how smart, wealthy people think. They do not pick money from their savings to train their children. They invest in plots like this, as you are seeing. So as they are having inspection, you are talking to them. You are not just there to gist with your colleague. You brought a client, a prospect. You have to be there to keep sending words in their head that keeps holding them on their emotional state, because they feel their way to buying decision. All right, so take note: trust, value, urgency, low risk. Those are the things that eventually bring in sales. Now, that's the modern closing formula. Are we still together?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. If you have a question to ask, you don't have to wait till the end. You can always stop and ask. All right. All right. So we have the 5-step closing process. The 5-step closing process in modern day real estate business. So the 5-step closing process starts from rapport, and I want to believe I've explained what rapport is. Do I still need to go ahead again and again and again? I don't think I need that. All right.
No, sir.
Sorry, Mr. Emmanuel, what did you say?
No, I said no. I said no, sir. No, sir.
All
I
right.
didn't say anything.
All right, all right. So we have the discover needs. All right, discover needs is not your own needs, it's their own needs. Why are people buying properties in Asaba? Have you figured out why even a lot of real estate companies have now decided to start bringing properties in Asaba? A lot of them were focusing on Abuja, Lagos, and maybe Enugu at the time. All right, but as of today, a lot of people are now fully looking out for properties in Asaba, looking out for properties in Enugu. So you have to know what are the needs they are trying to meet in this location. All right, so because you see, you don't close anyone whom you do not know what to offer. You don't present just any offer. You see, I've told you that the 4 different categories of buyers buy differently. For example, the creative industry income earners do not have interest in buying land. Do you understand? So if you are actually going to sell properties to the creative industry income earners, you have to discover their needs. They are looking for ego boosting offers. So you have to make sure that you are presenting an offer that boosts their bragging rights, that gives them a bragging right. How do you package such offer? You sit down, attach infotainment, attach picture sessions, and then you just make it more like when they are having a location, there is actually, there is going to be a kind of projection that helps them to equally bring it to the internet that gives them bragging rights. Those are how people like that buy. Whereas the wealth preservers are people who don't even want you to ever capture them while they are taking possession of their property. Those ones don't want to project that they are investing because already they are not newbie investors. So you have to first of all identify their needs. All right. This one is investing for security. This one is investing for wealth preservation. This one is investing from Nigerians in diaspora for backup plan. You have to understand this and then present solution. So the solution you are presenting here simply is, okay, now I have understood that, look, you have trust issue. This is the solution to your trust issue. The reason why people in diaspora buy properties in Nigeria and lose them is because they do not know this, that, and those. Now sit back and develop those things. I don't want to mention all of them here because if I mention, everybody will start adopting the same thing. Now sit back and develop a plan. So what are the reasons Nigerians in diaspora lose properties when they buy in Nigeria? So you put that down and then you use that as a solution to their trust issue. Why do wealth preservers don't have interest in investing with people who are not seen as brands that have some elevated image? The reason is simple. They seem like a struggling brand. So those people want to have their investment portfolio with brands that they can see are at the same class with them. So you have to understand how to project classism if you are selling to the wealth preservers. When you are making a call on the phone, you do not sound desperate to the wealth preserver. Hello, good morning, Mr. Albert. How are you today, sir? Okay, so I just was going through interest form and realized that you are one of those who would want to have your investment portfolio in our company. I must say, sir, you fall in the 1% of those we usually handle. You see, in our company, we do not just handle sales, we do not just handle investment portfolio for all clients. We have what we call client segmentation, but from our analysis, you fall within the categories of those we handle. Now, what you are saying is that this is the kind of people I'm looking for. I'm not trying to buy from people who are selling to everybody. All right, from this person, he has class. They have client segmentation. They don't sell to everybody. They sell to certain category of people whom I fall under. Are you with me? This is why certain clubs you can't even get in, even with your money. You have to be recommended to be able to gain access. Those are for the wealth preservers. They want to know that as you are trying to close them, you are at the same class with them. So before we proceed, sir, I've seen that your next portfolio that you are trying to hand it over to us to manage for you is actually on short-let apartments. Beautiful decision. You see, in 2026, short-let has taken over Nigeria compared to hotels. Profit. In profitability, I can assure you that short-let apartment has done about 70% higher than hotel profit in the last 3 years. This is it. Most importantly, in seasons of festivity, and but you have to understand that there are some peculiarities that must be put into place before you consider that decision. As one who has handled over 50 portfolios for clients like you, I must tell you that this location is a perfect location for your investment decision. I wouldn't want to waste your time, sir. I know you are in Enugu based on your submission. Would you be free on Thursday by 10 a.m.? Let's have for us to have a discussion on this at lunchtime by 12 noon. You see, what you have just projected here is class. You have identified that the person that has come to buy is someone that is a classist. All right, wealth preservers work on classism, so you have to also be able to invest on your classism. So as a matter of fact, going there, you do not have to go as someone who, you don't have to go there as a humble person. They do not like, they want you to be humble, but your projection should show that you are at the same class with them. Now, what I mean by the humility doesn't have to be showcased as poverty. They will check out how you came. They will even check your fingernails, how neat it is, because they know for someone of their class, they have something they call pedicure. So closing these people is not something you start and end on the mobile phone, all right, on a phone call. So make sure that when you have identified that this particular person is a wealth preserver, please schedule a physical meeting if they are in a location that you are. But if they are not, don't end it on call. Schedule a Google Meet like this or a Zoom meeting, and then tell them that, yeah, you want us to have an investment advisory session on a Zoom session on Thursday 10 a.m. so that you can truly guide him to make the right investment decision. At this point, you've not asked him for anything, you've not asked him for any money, you have been offering him, and what they are seeing here is that they are being indebted to you because you've been offering them. See, sales closing is not something you raise a stone and throw. It's a structure, it's a process. Is it making sense to you at all?
Yes, sir. It's making sense. It's making sense.
right, so you have to work on these based on the categories you are selling to. If you are selling to the creative industry company, if you are focusing on Nigerians in diaspora, you know that you must be readily available for virtual tour. You don't postpone, because as they are seeing your ad, the moment they've clicked and engaged on your ad, Facebook will keep the algorithm, whether on Instagram or Facebook or even on YouTube, will start showcasing similar properties to them. So you have to be fast, and then you have to be present. All right, fast doesn't mean that you have to project what we call, you don't have to be desperate. Fast simply means that you have to do things that ought to be done on time, but don't project desperation that, "Oh, I really need these sales." No, you are not permitted to be desperate in sales. All right, so in sales you have to ask powerful questions. All right, one of the most powerful questions to close sales, you must ask this: why are you buying? All right, so what was I saying? The most powerful question, okay, to close sales, you must understand their needs. All right, sorry. To close sales, you must understand their needs, and then ask these powerful questions around: why are you buying? Investment or residence? What's your budget? When do you hope to build? What matters most to you? Now, these are pre-qualifying decisions. Now, these are questions you ask before they come in, so that before you start your closing call, you already know who you are talking to. Are you with me? So you don't initiate closing call to a stranger. You are initiating a closing call to someone that you already have a qualifying image of. All right. I'm trying to meet up with that timing. All right. So now this is very important. A lot of times for some of us here, we've taken someone for inspection, and at the end of the day, they ended up not buying. You see, site inspection does not convert because they have come. Site inspection converts because you've understood exactly how to hold them down even after the inspection. Look at this. First thing you need to note is that you are not a tour guide. I've stated this from the beginning. You are not a tour guide. You are a salesman. All right. You must, as a matter of intention, hold their emotional desires. For everything you are going to be doing with them, you must hold their emotional desires from day one to the end of the day. All right. They are not there to just see the environment and leave. You are not a tour guide that took people there just for environment and all this sightseeing. All right. So this is it. You have to keep engaging them. Can you see picture? Can you picture your house here? I mean, I stated this earlier. Where would your living room face? I mean, would this location fit your long-term plan? So you have to just say things. So, sir, you can imagine this place in the next 2 years when it has become your residential abode. Just imagine you coming back from a long journey. Maybe you've relocated. Maybe you've spent a few weeks in Abuja, and then you are driving back to the serenity of this environment. And your children just step out from here, and you can see they are attending one of the best schools around, and you don't even struggle you don't have a bad road issue. You are driving out, and then the road is tarred, and then the environment is well secured. Look at the security posts. So you just keep putting his image on the important things around there. And then for someone who is going to build a nice duplex, just imagine the serenity of this environment, the nature, the feel of nature around this environment. Keep sending those images to their head. And then I also cited to you, in a case where the environment is not a buy and build immediately, it's more like a land banking situation. So you give them the reason to buy. All right. It can be buying for children's security, buying for retirement, it can be buying to beat inflation. You have to be knowledgeable in all of these things. All right. So at the end of the day, you are able to keep their mind, and then it does not end when they've seen the land and left. I told us the last time I was in Enugu that the moment they've left, you send them a message. I'm glad that you were able to meet to meet up with today's inspection. I can't really wait to see what your next move will be, sir, as the allocation to that property is coming up very soon, and I trust that your future and that of your kids will be very much interesting living in a very serene environment. You know, you keep staying in their face, and I mean, this is just an instantaneous communication, but you keep making sure that you project what needs to be, you handle objections that, I mean, are likely going to come up. All right, so in cases of objection, we have, while you are trying to close sales, you are going to come across some of this. And then the most popular one has always been, I would think about it. How many of us have heard, I would think about it before? You have, right?
Yes.
All right.
All of us.
All of you. So, and then
We
when they
have,
when they said when they
we
said
have them.
when they said I would think about it, what did you say? The person that said something just now, what did you say when they said I would think about it? Talk to me now.
Sometimes, as for me, I do follow up on with them maybe the next day or give them a call.
So the moment they tell you I will get back, I will think about it, what do you usually see that particular moment?
Sometimes I would say, okay, sir, or okay, ma. Then later I would just, put a call or drop a note
So
of reminder.
when you put a call the next day, do they pick?
Yes, sometimes they pick.
And then when they pick and realize that it's you that is still calling for the land, how do they react?
Sometimes they will just tell me, I've told you I'll come or I will think about it. And I will just,
So at that point,
I'll wait.
at that point, you are not doing follow up. You have become a pest on them.
Okay.
You see, and most often time, those people never come back to buy. So two things. I'll think about it is actually a Nigerian, it's a two-way thing in Nigeria actually. So one is that it's a Nigerian way of telling you the property is too expensive, but I'm not bold enough to tell you I can't afford it. Two, it's an easy way of telling you I don't have interest in this particular property. Three, it's another way of saying I don't trust you. Four, is another way of saying you have not been able to convince me that it is genuine. Okay, so it still falls under I don't trust you. So in a case where someone says, I'll think about it and get back to you, usually your first reaction should be very calm. Oh, that's actually fine. But before you go, I need you to understand something. You see, this property location is one of the best we have actually activated in the last 2 years. First, the launch price was actually at 2.5 million naira. That's to tell you that this property has grown at about 67% increase on a monthly basis. Today, the property is sold for 15 million naira, and then it's within a period of 16 months. So you have to see, you must not sound like a motivational speaker. You have to speak with data. All right. So while I will let you have a time to review your decision before, you go ahead with this, I would like to ask, does it have anything to do with the price? Or does it have anything to do with the timing? Or would you want to have more clarification on things that were not handled? Because you don't know exactly why they are taking a step back, so you have to ask them. So if they say, well, yeah, the price is actually a bit I mean, it's not what I can actually handle at this moment. Now you have forced them to say exactly what it is. So you can, oh, that's perfect. You see, I probably never told you this. We have a structured payment plan in our company. That is, if you have. From the conversation we had from day one, I must say you are a very interesting person. And when I speak with someone who truly desires investment security, I know. I usually would have released you the moment you said I'll think about it. If you were one of those people that I know really do not have the strong desire for investment. But from our conversation from the one, I've identified that you are someone who truly desires investment, and I must tell you this property will guarantee you inflation bulletproof. Don't use that word bulletproof, I beg. But just let them understand that this particular location. Right? Can you mute this person, please? All right, so just let them understand that this particular location will guarantee them lots of benefits. So highlight those benefits. You know, that particular distraction post what I was saying. Highlight those benefits and then let them understand that you have a payment plan. And please, you would like them to sleep on it, but by if you're calling on Monday, tell them you reach out to them on Wednesday on a call so you can have a concluded agreement on the property investment. So at this point, you don't leave them to decide when you get in touch with them. You give them when you will get in touch with them. By Wednesday, I'll reach out to you because I don't want you to miss out on this. Most importantly, now that we are on a promo, all right, and it's been on for a period of time, she has to know that it's urgent. You know, I told you the formula has urgency in it. So you have to follow through the formula. You don't have to let her be that, okay, I will think about it. Let her not go and feel that the property will be there, even when she thinks for 1 year, even when she thinks for 6 months. Even if the property is there, it's not going to be there at the same price she has seen today. So what you do is that you project to her in a way that, look, it's okay to think about it, but these are the things you need to know so that you don't regret not making a decision today. So you place that in their mind, and while she's thinking about it, there has been a clause placed in their mind to think along. So you don't just allow them to go ahead and be thinking what you have not been able to emotionally, placed in them. All right. So the next one is I need my wife's approval. And most times it's not always I need my wife's approval. Most times it's let me speak to my wife. I will get back to you. I need to talk to my spouse. So you see, this particular objection is the one I hate the most. This particular objection is the one I hate the most because on many occasions you may likely lose the client because the clients, if you are a lady, you have to be very careful. At that point, you have no business selling to the man anymore. The next person you should be focusing on selling to is the wife because at this point there has been a huge objection that has been placed. So you have to focus on selling to that objection. The objection right now is the wife. So focus on selling to them. If they are in Nigeria, I've cited this before. Ask them, oh, that's beautiful. I love people who carry their spouse along during investment decisions. As a matter of fact, I would be so glad to go along with you in this journey of your investment. But first, sir, this is what I want us to do. I would love to be in that discussion between you and your wife. So if you don't mind, you are in Enugu, right? Said yes. Or you are in Asaba, right? Or you are in Owerri. So can we have lunch with you and your wife tomorrow at by 11 a.m. So let's discuss about this investment because I would like to be, in the midst. So talking to you physically and then also sharing the investment, prospect with you and your wife physically. And if it is a Nigerian in diaspora, oh, that's beautiful. Can we set up a Google Meet? Can I set a Google Meet tomorrow or a Zoom meeting tomorrow, and then we have a live discussion between you and your wife tomorrow, so that we can see how this is closed up. Now there is a particular case a few weeks ago, that Michael told me about. There was a Nigerian in the US who indicated interest in buying property. and then the person that handled that, someone came for inspection. Can you mute, please? So the person sent a representative to come for inspection, and after the representative went back, from what we deduced, myself and Michael, so the representative had met someone else who promised probably to give him a percentage. I mean, not the buyer, but the middleman. You see how objections work. He is now the third party that has become the objection. So he went back and told the man something different, and then told Michael that they wouldn't buy. So I told Michael, so we need to activate something that would still grant us access to the man in the US, since you have a direct contact with him. Instead of chat, initiate a schedule of a call, that you would like to have a call with him and then highlight key important things. I don't know if Michael was eventually able to close that man, but guess what? It initially was looking like that chapter had closed, but the moment we brought up that option, the man opened up for a conversation at that particular time. They agreed on a specific time the next day, and it was scheduled, and that call happened, and then we were able to remove that objection and still went ahead. So I don't know, I've not asked Michael if he eventually bought, but you see, objection happens when you allow it will linger and then eventually block the sales from happening when you totally allow it to exist, all right, without you finding a way to lift the roadblock off the existence. So at this particular point, you have to intentionally be able to be sure that when he talks about talking to the wife, you have initiated either virtual or physical meeting to be sure that you are there, because he cannot sell the property to the spouse the way you can. So make sure that you are the one in there selling the property or selling the offer to the wife on his behalf. And please, if you are meeting the wife physically and the husband, don't focus on the husband. Focus on the wife, compliment the wife, and all of those. See, closing does not start and end on mobile phone. There are different processes. You have to go extra mile to close. It does not start and end on phone call. All right, there has to be, if there is a need for you to initiate a Zoom, you have to. If there is a need for you to initiate a physical meeting, you have to. All right, so you have to be very intentional about this. So I don't trust real estate people. So this is another objection, and you can't even blame them. You know what has happened in the last few years? A lot of real estate people, especially companies, have unintentionally or intentionally created a lot of distrust in the industry. So most of them have not allocated. Most of them have had different issues of property buying and eventually not being able to secure the property for their client. All right, so this particular one is a very genuine objection. When they said I don't trust real estate people, it's, I totally understand your concerns. And you see, if I were you with the information you have, I probably wouldn't trust real estate people. But this is something I need you to understand, sir. Look, most investors who bought properties and eventually lost them because they did not go through the right process. All right, so if you are able to go through the right process and understand that before you buy property, you must know this, you must know that, and then you must know that. So in our company, what we do is that before we take any of our clients for investment journey, we must make sure that we understand exactly what his investment goal is. See, from our conversation so far, you can see that truly our focus in how you can identify genuine property and buy. It doesn't even have to be us. Even when you don't buy from us and you buy from someone else, make sure that you have asked this important question and then you highlight the question, and then before that. But if eventually you conclude that you are buying from us, be assured that we have done this before time on your behalf. All right, in our company, we identify locations that will be secured for you to build if you are building and live. If you are actually buying for a resale like land banking, we go for location that appreciates. And like this particular location, you see, the growth process has been on nothing less than 30% monthly um, growth, and there is no investment that guarantees that right now, not forex that guarantees that, not treasury bill. Imagine buying property for 15 million today, and every month at least 30% increase is accrual on that property. Then imagine it staying for at least 4 years, and then you come back calculating the increase on your property. This is how people generate wealth. All right, so we are not trying to be defensive, but I need you to understand that in our company, we do not just sell. Our location timeline text between now and then. Our location and our documentation timeline text between 2 weeks. You have to be sure of what we are saying. You must have had the information from your company. And the funniest thing is that you don't even if you are not able to make the exact 15 million payment, you can spread it, because we have a well structured payment plan. And then another question comes and says the location is too far. So this one, you don't defend it. The problem, usually I will blame the salesperson whom this question eventually comes to on the location is too far. Why I will blame the salesperson is that you should know the property interest of whom you are recommending a property to. Most of the problems that eventually result to the location is too far is that you recommended a land banking property for someone who needed a buy to build property. And most times it's as a result of your inability to pre-qualify them before you begin your sales closing journey. All right, and then so make sure that you handle that from the pre-qualifying stage, so you know whom to recommend a particular property to. All right, so the next one is too expensive. Yes, pricing is a big deal, but before you make a property recommendation, we have a pre-qualifying process that helps you to understand the prospect budget. So why are you recommending 15 million property for someone who said his budget is 4.5 million? So you have to intentionally understand that people are not that flexible when it comes to budget. When they tell you their budget is 6 million, stick to the budget. Don't recommend 12 million property with the hope that they will be able to stretch a little bit and add an extra 6 million. So this is usually why we have this kind of objection. But in a case where it still surfaces even after you have pre-qualified and handled all the processes, you bring them into a place of solace by offering them that the company offers a structured installment payment. All right, they can make initial deposit of 30% and spread the balance. That is if your company offers it. All right, and then I'll come back. It's still the same thing, like I'll think about it. So handle it the same way I suggested. I'll think about it. All right, now I'm trying to close this up very soon. We have done this for 1 hour, more than 1 hour 30 minutes. All right, so I really have to close this. I was told 1 hour 30 minutes. I have to round this up. All right, so the objection formula is simply you listen without being defensive. You understand, and then first, if you look at the way I handle them, I usually always agree with them. Then I empathize with them, and then clarify, answer questions, and try to close again. Do you understand? So you don't just, they said, this location is too far. And they said, this location, no, it's not. You are the one seeing it that way. Probably it's because of your first time your first time coming to this place. It's not really far. See the main road now. You don't act defensive. You listen. You understand their concern, and then you empathize with them, and then you clarify, answer their concerns, and try to close them again. All right, and then the next option there is that you have to intentionally implement the 5 closing techniques. All right, you have to be assumptive, you have to be able to present alternative in a very smart way. Now, presenting alternative is not you making 2 property recommendations at the same time. You have to smartly bring the alternative. So when he says um, you took them to a location that is built to live, all right, and then the budget that he gave fit into that location probably is 6 million naira budget, and he said, I would have loved a location that is more open. You don't immediately say, okay, we have another location. So the alternative clause is that what you do. Oh, anyway, so tell me, what exact location, do you have in mind? Is it a place like an estate? Is it a place like an opened environment that, there are no empty lands? You say, yeah, something like that. All right, so may I ask, do you have a little flexibility in your budget? Because you don't run to give alternative without figuring out if they have flexibility in their budget. Do you have a little flexibility in your budget? Would you be able to make adjustment and then increase your budget if we are to make alternative recommendation? And then if you figure it out and you say, yeah, I can. All right, like double this price. You say, well, if need be, all right, so good. That's when you bring in the smart alternative, all right, to them. So at that particular point, you can make a recommendation. Then summary closing. Now, summary closing is simple. You have taken them, is just like what we have done from day one, from the beginning of this session to where we are, and then there is still a little of objection. So after trying to summarize the close again, all right, after the last stage of objection, I quickly summarize the closing stage again, and then bring it up, and then try to close them again. And then scarcity closing. I told you, they don't need to feel like whenever they come back, they will still meet that property. You have to let them understand that, look, this property isn't going to be here forever. All right? This property isn't going to be here forever. They need to let you understand. They need to know that there is urgency. Either the price will increase or you have few plots left in that particular location, so that they can activate their actions on time. All right, so the silent close, this one is very the silent close is more like you trying to showcase a stubborn side. For example, you get in touch with them the first time, and then try to close them, give them all information the first day, and then let them understand the urgency and how you already have people on the pipeline that are lining up for either the inspection and other processes that is expected to close that sale. All right, after that process, you do not follow up every day, you do not follow up every minute. So what you then do is that you go a bit silent and allow them feel the information you've submitted, and also you've dropped a link that takes them to either a brochure or takes them to a landing page, all right, that eventually showcases all testimonials, that's the social proofs and all of those. But before you do this, it simply means that you have followed up consistently over and over again, and then you give that silent closing strategy. All right. So this is the last stage on this session, and then I will close. So you see, this is what determines your success in sales closing. Follow up. Follow up wins deals. You see, you do not meet a client today, and in very rare occasion, it's a very rare occasion that you meet a client today and they pay today. All right, so what you need to understand is that a strategic, structured follow up will win you deals rather than a one time call, a one time WhatsApp message, and then you abandon them and they said, "Don't worry, I will get back to you." And you say, "Okay, sir, I will be expecting your call." That's not how it works. You will never close that particular prospect. So this is how a structured follow-up works. All right. Now they come in the first submission. You initiate a phone call, and then I've told you this: your phone call has to be initiated between 0 to 20 minutes of that call coming in, of that lead coming in. That's how limited the attention span is. If you allow the attention span to go for to 1 hour, you would always be hearing, I can't remember, when was that? Okay, hold on, let me check. So apparently they've forgotten. So what you do, you have to initiate a way that the moment the leads come in, you are notified, instantly notified that a lead has come in, and you have to initiate a call instantly. And then that call builds an instant connection. All right, you activate, you initiate a conversation, you build trust in the process, then you can, in that single call, proceed to scheduling for inspection. But in most cases, if they tell you that that particular time wasn't the right time for the call, they can actually, you have the right to reschedule and tell them to pick the exact right time that you can call them back, and make sure that you initiate your reminder, because they don't tell you to call by 12 noon tomorrow, and then you remember on Tuesday that Mr. Okonkwo said I should call by 12 noon on Sunday, and I forgot. And then you called on Tuesday, said, "So sorry, sir, I forgot to call you on Sunday." Automatically, it sees you as someone who isn't serious. Because one, you don't have a structured system that helps you to understand the flow when it comes to your follow-up. All right, so after you've initiated a call, make sure that you do not abandon other channels of communication. For instance, there is a way to initiate an automated WhatsApp messages that goes along with them, or a manual one. I've always said it, you don't need a fancy CRM. Create labels where you place these people, all right? Create labels on your WhatsApp business, all right? So your label helps you to segment them, all right? The first one is activated or call initiated, booked for inspection. So you can create different labels so that you know how to follow them up. And then while communicating with them, let them understand that, look, last week, so insert a story in your process. Insert a story. Last week we helped Mr. While you are having that call, and then he shares, I've always been having this particular issue with buying property in Nigeria. Not that I know that there is a prospect in Nigerian real estate, but you see, there are so many scams. I'm scared. At that point, you can bring in a testimonial. It doesn't have to be, it's good if you have a genuine one, but you don't have to leave it to chance. You have to use fiction as well most times. Oh, that's actually a beautiful one. Your concerns are actually genuine, sir. If I were you, I would feel that way. Reason is that, you see, Nigerians are increasingly desperate, and a lot of people are taking advantage of Nigerians in diaspora. But you see, last week I spoke with Mr. Paul. He had similar concerns, but when we started the processes, and then we went on the virtual tour, and eventually I took him through the journey of verifying the documents, which eventually did, and at the end of the day, he was able to make the buying decision. You see, in our company, we are not desperate to get your money. We want to be sure that our property recommendation suits your exact investment goal. So that's why before we even go ahead to make any recommendation, we are to be sure that we know exactly what you want. So to start with, sir, I need you to hold on to your fears. They are very valid. I need you to be very open-minded, but let your fears be valid. But still, Your verification with me in the entire process will determine if you are able to trust me. So for now, you see, as a Nigerian in diaspora who is trying to buy property in Nigeria, you have no business trying to tie down property investment in a location that is not suitable for growth. Firstly, from your submitted data, you already identify the aspect of your investment, which is a private residency, more like a country home that you want to buy, you want to build on. So this is simply a clear case of you are looking for a secured environment. You are looking for an environment that has basic amenities. And you see, I will not recommend any other location aside this. And then you mentioned that location. But before we go ahead, tomorrow by 10 a.m., if it's suitable by you, I would like to take you on a virtual tour on that particular location. So confirm to me if 10 a.m. is a good time for you so we can connect on a virtual tour, and then I will take you around from the entry to the environment, and then when we are done in that location, I will come back and show you the document and take you through the process of verifying that document. Now, what you are doing here is that you are handling their fears through testimonial. You have brought in Mr. Paul, who had similar fears like him, but was eventually handled. All right, you see, your follow-up process must handle all those fears. And then at the end of the day, you see, I started the first call. From that call that proceeded to WhatsApp, and then I had already initiated a virtual tour because he's a Nigerian in diaspora. All right, I've initiated a virtual tour with him already, and he has agreed to a virtual tour tomorrow morning. And then that tomorrow morning by 10, I have to be sure that because their time is very important. They may be Nigerians, but the moment they've moved out there, time is a currency to them. All right, you cannot afford to schedule 10 a.m. and then go 11 a.m. or even 10:15. All right, so be sure that you're timing with them. In fact, you are the one waiting for them to come up. All right, so develop updates. So when you are following up, you do not, once you have taken them on a virtual tour or even spoken with them and they say, okay, don't worry, I'll get back to you, let me review this, you don't stop there. So your development update keeps engaging them educationally. All right, so you can use edutainment on how the real estate industry works in Nigeria. All right, and then at the end of the day, you can equally inject the limited offer, that is the urgency process that eventually leads to payment. All right, so follow up is not a standalone thing. All right, if we are to do this again, what I would want to be scheduled is that we don't have, with what we have done today, you take up your script, create your script, create your process, create your follow-up structure, and then in our next meeting, each of us will try to make a presentation. Each of us will try to make calls. Each of us will try to chat and then close clients. And then from there, live on this call, we can actually see what areas we are lacking and then how we can adjust and how we can make improvement and eventually start our sales closing in a better way. It's a weekend and I don't want to stretch longer than this, so I would like you to throw in your questions if you have them. But to start with, if Michael is here, please take note. Let's have a schedule for another session that will help us to review this and then people can make presentation. Please go ahead with the question.